Hello, how are you today? So I'm going to start right off the bat with my question for the day. Have you ever been in a space where somebody really makes you get your hackles up? You know, kind of like you create like a wall between you and them because their energy just feels so strong, just so not very nice and just so overpowering and overwhelming. It happened with me last night, and therefore it's something which is really fresh in my mind, and I thought that why not make a post about that today itself. I'm Bhuchar. I'm a leadership transformation coach, and my work revolves around the use of self and a high dosage of emotional intelligence. So I'm a part of a group and we were working together, and there was some conversation about ownership that came up. And I felt that the other person was being way too aggressive and pushing their way through, and just by virtue of their words, their language, because this is an entirely virtual team. We have never met in person. We're not in the same vicinity. We're actually the other parts of the world. It is a global project that we're working on. And I felt so much of aggression coming from that individual, and I said, well, maybe it's just in my world that I'm receiving that aggression. But when I checked with a couple of other people, they also mentioned the same thing without me asking them, hey, do you feel this individual is aggressive enough? They commented on some conversations that were happening individually. I know that's not a nice thing to do, but that's human behavior. So I received that and I said, well, thank God it's not just me. Now, that's not what this post is about. What this post is about really is, how do we handle it when our barriers come up? It's not about that person's aggression, no. It is about, number one, how do we handle barriers when they come up against somebody? And two, how do we make sure that we are not getting into that aggression mode ourselves? Of course, not to get into that aggression mode ourselves has multiple facets to it, and I'll be happy to take that up. I first want to speak to all of us about barriers. So you would have noticed each time you are in the vicinity of someone whose energy doesn't seem vibing with your own, or you have a lot of judgments come up, it's almost as if there is a wall that comes up between us and them, our energy and their energy. Of course, it's not a brick and mortar wall, but it is a wall nevertheless. When that wall comes, it stops us from receiving what they're saying. So they could be saying whatever they're saying, and we will operate from the filter inside our head. We will operate from the barrier that we have constructed, so to speak, and we will only listen to them from that space. Does that really make for great communication? Will you be able to receive any great ideas that they may have, any great information or any important information that they might need to give you? Will you actually be accepting of that? Chances are, if you're even a little bit like me, you will have that barrier come up and you will possibly filter out some of that information. All of us are human beings anyway, right? So here's a great question to ponder on. What barriers am I constructing between myself and this individual right now? What is the impact of these barriers that are getting created? Whatever the other individual is doing, what kind of barriers am I creating, and how are they going to impact me, my deliverable, my relationship with this individual, and the relationship between the two of us with other people surrounding us? And then a great exercise to do. So number one, ask the question. Number two, do this exercise. Visualize the barriers ahead of you between you and the other individual, and then literally place your hands on top of this energetic barrier and start pushing those barriers down. Push, push, push till you feel them going down, till you actually observe. There is a little more relief in this conversation now. Push, push. You know what sometimes I do is I actually jump on top of them saying, go inside, go inside. I need to be able to resolve this relationship with this individual. Barriers down, now let me have a piece of communication with this person. So that was number one. And number two is, when you are getting into an aggression mode in communicating with the other individual, how can you take a step back and say, hey, what barriers could I be creating for the other person for me? Of course, now you can't put your hands on their barrier and push it down, but asking that question that goes, so what barriers am I creating here between myself and this other individual? How is that going to impact our relationship? Furthermore, how is it going to impact the cosmos or the universe or even the ecosystem around us? Powerful questions to be in. What barriers am I creating? What impact are those barriers creating? And what do I need to do, apart from the exercise, What do I need to do to be able to ensure free-flowing, open communication between myself and this other individual who is coming in, overwhelming me in my own world, who is coming with a lot more force than I would have accepted or expected? Remember, questions empower. Ask the right ones.